Hey YouTube, this is Primetime Pokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and then giving away the Burning Winds Phantom Forces theme deck. This theme deck is a fire and grass type theme deck and is featured around Talonflame. So the first part of this video, I'll be reviewing the theme deck, and I've actually reviewed all of the newest theme decks on YouTube before, so if you're looking for a previous or an older theme deck review, more than likely I've done that review. So the first part, like I said, will be the review, and then the second part, I'll lay out the rules to entry for this giveaway. And I did review the other theme deck from the Phantom Forces set last month, the Bolt Twister theme deck, and I can compare the two theme decks at the end of this video. So I'll show a quick 360 view of the artwork on the box, and then I can read the summary of the theme deck that is on the back here, and then I'll show everything that's in the inside, review the cards, and then give the deck away. So if I bring the deck a little bit closer, here's all 60 cards in the deck. Here's what you'll find in the box. And then up here is the summary. And basically it says, carry a fiery storm under your wings with the Burning Winds theme deck. Let Talonflame light up the sky with Jet Shoot, while Venomoth stirs up a dizzying wind to keep a foe guessing. And with Yanmega's Windfall to refill your hand, you can fly the unfriendly skies with ease. Add in Pyroar's Flare Command and Loudred's Energy Press to turn your opponent's resources in your favor, and total air superiority could be yours. So I'll open it up here. I've actually opened this deck already just to organize the cards, and theme decks are $12.99 in stores. And usually every new Pokemon set has 2 theme decks. So here's everything. Here's the set checklist, the damage counters, burn marker and poison marker, the playmat. Here is the theme deck box with 59 cards in it. Here's the back of it. Coin, which is a silver color Mega Gengar. And there was a purple colored one in last month's theme deck. Here is the online TCG code card to unlock the deck. And here is the featured card, and this would make 60 cards in the deck. Talonflame. Special holofoil pattern to it. Okay, so now I'll actually show the cards. And the first Pokemon line in the deck is a 4-2-2 line of Fletchling, Fletchinder, and Talonflame. Put all the cards out. And as you can see, Fletchling is actually a colorless type Pokemon. 50 HP, a little lower HP. Has 2 moves. Peck does 10 damage for 1 colorless energy card, and then Quick Attack does 10 damage for 2 colorless energy cards, plus if you get a heads when you flip a coin, it does 20 more damage. And this deck does have Trick Coin in it, which would make Quick Attack a little more likely to do 30 total damage instead of just 10. So 3 of those. 4 of those, my mistake, 4-2-2. And then Fletchinder is a fire type Pokemon, going through the lower HP theme with only 80 HP, but it also has 2 moves. Peck does 20 damage, and then Combustion does 60 damage for 3 energy cards, so 2 average moves on Fletchinder, with a low retreat cost as well. And then we're on to Talonflame, which is the featured card for this theme deck. 130 HP for a stage 2 card, so average HP I would say. 2 moves. The first is Acrobatics, which does 30 damage for 1 fire energy card, plus it allows you to flip 2 coins, and the attack does 30 more damage for each heads you get, so it could do up to 90 damage for only 1 fire type energy card. And then the second move is called Jet Shoot. This move does 120 damage for 3 energy cards, and it says, during your opponent's next turn, any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks is increased by 40. So that's the risk you take using Jet Shoot. You'll probably knock out the defending Pokemon, but any move is increased by 40. And with only 130 HP, you can definitely feel that increase by 40. So that's definitely a risky move. I'd probably stick to Acrobats that actually just put 1 energy card on each of the 3 Pokemon in this entire line. Use Peck on both Fletchling and Fletchinder, and then on Talonflame use Acrobatics, and then attach the Trick Coin trainer card to Talonflame. Okay, next Pokemon line is a 2-1 line of Litleo and Pyroar. Litleo, basic Pokemon, 60 HP, 2 moves. Roar requires 1 colorless energy card and allows you to switch your opponent's active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon, and then Live Coal does 20 damage for 2 energy cards. It's an average basic Pokemon there, nothing too special about it. And then there is Pyroar, and this Stage 1 card has an above average HP, 110, and then it has 2 items on it there, 1 ability, 1 move. It has 1 move that does 110 damage for 4 energy cards. However, it does do 30 damage to itself, so that's the same thing as Talonflame, where 110 HP is not that high when it does 30 damage to itself when using Inferno Onrush. But the ability on Pyroar is called Flare Command, and it says once during your turn, you may discard a fire energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with his or her active Pokemon. So this is a perfect card to use in a spread damage type deck. You actually get to choose the Pokemon your opponent puts in the active Pokemon spot. So then you can basically make sure that Inferno Onrush can knock out whatever Pokemon you put in the active Pokemon spot. So on Pyroar, I really like Flare Command. Inferno Onrush, it's an alright move. It requires a lot of energy cards, and it does damage to itself. Okay, now we're on to the Grass-type Pokemon in the deck. There is a 2-1 line of Yanma and Yanmega. High HP for Yanma, 70, has 1 move called Air Slash, which does 30 damage for 2 colorless energy cards. However, you do have to discard an energy attached to Yanma when using Air Slash. So it's not that great of a card. Air Slash does do a good amount of damage, but if you have to keep attaching energy cards to Yanma, it really isn't that great. So 2 of those, and then 1 Yanmega. 110 HP, so a good HP. Windfall requires 1 energy card and allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards, so it takes the place of a trainer card. And then Surprise Strike requires 3 colorless energy cards, which is good in a dual type deck. And it does 50 damage times, nope, it's actually plus. If this Pokemon was on the bench and became your active Pokemon this turn, the attack does 50 more damage. So the first time that you use Yanmega in the active Pokemon spot, it can do 100 damage. So for that, I would make sure to evolve Yanma into Yanmega on the bench and then move from the bench to the active Pokemon spot. That way you can use Surprise Strike right away, and also make sure that you have 3 energy cards on Yanmega when moving it from your bench to your active Pokemon spot. Okay, next up is a 3-2 line of Sewaddle and Swadloon. 50 HP for Sewaddle, below average HP, but it does have 2 moves. Nap heals 20 damage from Sewaddle, and then Bug Bite does 20 damage for 2 energy cards. So if you use this card as a starter type Pokemon, Nap will make the HP on Sewaddle seem a little bit higher. So it's an average card overall. And then Swadloon, low HP for a stage 1, only 70, but it does have 2 moves. Protect allows you to flip a coin. If you get a heads, you prevent all effects and attacks during your opponent's next turn, including damage. And then Corkscrew Punch does 40 damage for 3 energy cards. So below average move overall. I would definitely think about including Leaveney in this deck if you're going to keep in Swaddle and Swadloon. Okay, next up is a 2-1 line of Venonat and Venomoth. And Venonat, basic Pokemon, 60 HP, only has one move called Stun Spore, which does 20 damage for 2 energy cards. It says to flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So this is another Pokemon that could benefit from having Trick Coin attached to it. So I definitely put more Trick Coin Pokemon tool cards in this deck, and I can show that card later. Then Venomoth, or Venonat, as I called it in my Japanese box opening, Venomoth. 90 HP for stage 1, 2 moves, Dizzying Wind, which requires 1 grass type energy card and says whenever your opponent plays a trainer card from his or her hand during his or her next turn, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, that card has no effect. And then Noxious Scales does 50 damage for 3 energy cards, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and poisoned. Dizzying Wind doesn't do much for me, but Noxious Scales is a very good move, especially if you're just trying to annoy your opponent. It's a good way to, just little by little, knock out your opponent's Pokemon. Next up is 2 Carablast. So, Carablast, 50 HP, basic Pokemon. Average card, actually a pretty solid starter type card to use in this deck. Peck does 10 damage and Headbutt does 20. So 1 energy card, 2 energy card. Good way to start the game off using Carablast in the active Pokemon spot. And then Whismur, we're getting on to the colorless type Pokemon now. There's a 2-2 line of Whismur and Loudred, no Explode, so you could always include the stage 2 evolution. But Whismur, 60 HP, only 1 move, which confuses both Whismur and the active Pokemon of your opponent. So not much use if you're using it on its own. But if you use it with Loudred, let's see if it takes advantage of being confused. So 90 HP, Pound does 30 damage for 2 colorless energy cards, so a good move there. Energy Press only does 30 damage for 3 colorless energy cards, but this attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So this is a very good move, especially later in the game. Your opponent's active Pokemon could have 3 energy cards attached to it. That means it would do 120 damage. I really like this Loudred card. It's probably one of the best cards in this deck in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of Whismur, but Loudred I am quite a big fan of. Okay, last Pokemon in this deck before we get to the trainers and supporters. Chansey, 2 of these, 100 HP. Nap heals 30 damage from Chansey, and then Lucky Punch does 100 damage for 3 colorless energy cards. And it says if you don't have exactly 7 cards in your hand, this attack does nothing. So this card really does nothing for me as well, because it is such a rare time that you'll have 7 cards in your hand. So I'd rather just find a card that can do a good amount of damage without having to depend on how many cards are in your hand. So that's it for the Pokemon in this deck. Overall, I'm not as impressed by these Pokemon as I am by the Pokemon in Bolt Twister, that theme deck. I do like Venomoth is pretty good in this theme deck, as well as Loudred. You could probably put an Explode in here. And then Talonflame is good as well as Pyroar, but both of those 2 Pokemon do damage to themselves. So if I was comparing just Pokemon between the 2 decks, I would prefer the Bolt Twister deck. So now we're on to the trainers, and they're pretty similar trainers in this deck as the other deck from Phantom Forces. 1 each of trainer and supporter cards that I'll be showing, except for Professor's Letter. There are 2. So Evo Soda allows you to search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon. So if you wanted to get Venomoth in to play right away, or Pyroar, that type of thing, you could use Evo Soda. Potion heals 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. Actually, there's a few Pokemon in this deck that don't even really need Potion, like Chansey can use Nap and heal 30 damage from itself. Next up here is Pokemon Center Lady. I'm a big fan of this card. It is a supporter card though, so you only can use one supporter card per turn, but it heals 60 damage and removes all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. Pokemon Fan Club allows you to search your deck for up to two basic Pokemon, and reveal them and put them into your hand. So it's a good way not to lose a game by not being able to put any Pokemon on your bench. 2 Professor Letters, and it allows you to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards and put them into your hand. With Pokemon that require a lot of energy to attack, this is a very good trainer card to have in your deck. This deck doesn't have very many cards that have a high energy cost to them. Pyroar requires 4 energy cards, but all of the other cards in this deck only require 3 maximum energy cards to attack. Next up is Professor Sycamore. It says to discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Then there's Roller Skates, which is based on a coin flip, but if you get a heads when flipping a coin, you get to draw 3 cards. I'd probably replace Roller Skates. Shauna allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 5 cards. I'd rather put 2 Shauna cards in this deck than have a Professor Sycamore, because you don't have to discard any cards while using Shauna. And then Tyrannel allows you to draw 3 cards, and I'd probably kick out Roller Skates, like I said, and put another Tyrannel or 2 in this deck. Then Ultra Ball allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand and search your deck for a Pokemon. This isn't the greatest of a trainer card either. And then the last trainer card is actually a Pokemon tool, and if you attach this Pokemon tool to a Pokemon in play, if you use a coin-based move or anything like that, you get to flip again if you'd like to have a do-over to get maybe 2 heads in a row or something like that. So this is a very good trainer card. I definitely include up to 4 of these in one deck. So that's it for the trainer cards. Overall, they're pretty good. Quite similar to the trainer cards in the Bolt Twister theme deck. I like that there's just one each of most of the trainers and supporters. That way you have a wide variety and just have an idea of what is good and what is not good in your deck, and that way you can have a better plan on what to do in future decks. So energy card wise, 18 total energy cards. There are 10 fire type energy cards and 8 grass type energy cards. Overall, with this Burning Winds theme deck, it's an average deck overall. Like I said, I prefer the Bolt Twister theme deck over the Burning Winds theme deck. But I would say all theme decks out there are pretty much right around average. What I would do is, as a beginner, I would just play with these theme decks, see how it goes, and then little by little change a few cards out and make your deck a little bit better. And by the time that you've done that a couple of times, be a more advanced player and be able to build a deck completely on your own. So that concludes this review of the Burning Winds Phantom Forces theme deck. Now on to the giveaway. And just a word of warning again, I did this in the last theme deck video, but not a lot of times, but in the past there has been an imposter out there who sent messages to people who have entered my giveaway, and it's actually from Primetime Space Pokemon, and it just says something like complete an offer to win this giveaway, that type of thing. If you do win this giveaway and I send you a message, number 1 will be from my YouTube channel, which is Primetime Pokemon, all one word, and you can always go to my channel just to make sure it is from my channel. And in the message that I send the winner, all I'll say is that you've won the theme deck in this case, and I just need to know where to send it. You don't have to do anything else like that. So if you see a message like that where it's requiring you to do something additional outside of just letting me know where to send the item that you've won, definitely message me with a question or delete that message, that type of thing, because more than likely it's an imposter pretending to be me just to for some strange reason like that. Okay, so now I'll lay out the rules to entry for the giveaway. Just like previous giveaways on my channel, all you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then just comment saying which theme deck from Phantom Forces you like better, Burning Winds or Bolt Twister. And at the end of this month, I will message the winner that wins this theme deck. So good luck to everyone. And in the video description of this video, I will have complete rules to entry, so make sure to read those as well. But thanks everyone for watching. Make sure before you go to check out all of the links in the video description of this video, including links to my blog, Facebook, and Twitter pages. And stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.